I really appreciated that reading from one of our friends in the liberal Christian church, not a UU, but someone who you have a lot in agreement with. Because I've lost count at this point of the number of rainbow flags and rainbow banners and Black Lives Matters banners and all sorts of different banners I've helped put up. And it's important for me to remember that the welcome is not always about me, right? Maybe this particular banner doesn't mean a whole lot to me personally. Because something you have to reckon with at some point in your life, people in the White House maybe being the exception, something you have to reckon with at some point in your life, and some people get this very early in life, and some get it much, much later, and some we're still waiting for it to kick in a little bit, I think, is the idea that not everything is about you. That is, there are some things that are for you, very specifically for you even. There are some things that you're not interested in, or not anything you want to do with. Not that they're bad things, but they're just not for you. And then there's sometimes you find you're really good at something almost right away, and sometimes you aren't good at something no matter how many years and hours and money and resources you put into it, no matter how much you try, it's not your thing. Now, I've had these moments, plenty of them in my life, but the one I'm going to share with you today, I think I probably mentioned it before. The one that sticks with me is the 3 different times I tried to take a calculus class. And this was tough for me because I was very good at math growing up. I think I still am very good at math, honestly, until you hit calculus. Until I hit calculus, at least. I don't understand calculus. I mean, I think I sort of conceptually understand the point, but the doing of it was never possible for me. At least it never happened. And I don't blame any of my teachers. I've had some great teachers. I think I put a reasonable amount of effort into it, but I just don't get it. I finally passed due to the kindness of classmates who helped me a lot. And I strongly suspect a professor who took pity on me and perhaps gave me a lot of credit for having at least done the work, whether it was that right or not. But I can appreciate that calculus is important and that some people love it, just not me. Which is a long way of saying that it can be wonderful to appreciate that some things are for you and some things are not, and that both of those are good things. And that's a long way of introducing Pride Month, I realize. But I did come across the phrase pride and calculus, which has been the name of several events and projects which aim to support LGBTQ students in STEM fields. Because I know that some of you were thinking that I would not bring calculus and pride back together somehow, but I did. Boom. But that's a long way of introducing that I'm a white male cis straight dude, and I know that pride is not about me. It's not for me. At least not in any way but the broadest possible sense of pride welcoming everyone. For which I am very appreciative and aware of what that means, and I am glad for my opportunities to participate in it. Sometimes I feel like a little bit like an anthropologist observing something from the outside that is wonderful and I'm interested in and is not mine, and that's okay. Does that mean that I have no role in this month? I certainly don't think so. I would like to be an ally, an accomplice, a friend, a family member, and that these are important things to be in a world like ours. And I try to live up to that as best I can. And remember that it's not about me. Which doesn't say that I can't experience pride and joy and love and unabashedly being myself. Of course I can. In fact, it's probably pretty easy given my identities to do that, relatively speaking. Just that it's not about me. So for one reason or another, the weather and our schedule and random illnesses that can get you down for a few days My family has not, or at least has not yet, attended any Pride events this year. We did a lot last year. I'm hoping to still do so in the next few days with our kids because it's important for them to see that too, to be involved and to see what we support and what we love. I did want to talk about pride in particular because I find pride almost too small a word. For me, pride means joy and love and grief and resistance and being who you are in the world without hesitation or artifice. Pride means enjoying full humanity in a way that maybe you didn't always feel, but you sure as heck do right now. A year ago, preaching here, I told that story about Red, the crayon, which I just love. I love that story so much. And then I preached about being who you are, fully, unapologetically, without reservation or fear. And a year later, I still feel that way, but I also feel how hard a thing that is to do. I don't think it's possible to fully do that in the world we live in, and that makes me sad. But I also feel like pride is just a little vision of what that might look like to live fully and unapologetically. I feel like pride gives us a glimpse of a world that is better in so many ways than the one we're in right now. To quote the actress Samira Wiley, she says, "I want to make sure that any young person or anyone who is looking up to me, who sees a glimpse of who I am as a person, that they see no shame, that they see pride, that I am truly unabashed about the person that I am." I like that from her. Because let's be real, in this year and this country, things are scary for 1,000 reasons. But just to name a few on the Pride event front, corporations are suddenly more concerned about sponsoring Pride events. Many of them have pulled out, in fact. And despite the sort of reservations I have about capitalist forms of supporting Pride, that's a bad sign. On other fronts, our government is, of course, actively attacking marginalized groups, attempting to curtail their rights and freedoms. And in addition to how bad that is, that could easily make someone reconsider just how open they want to be about their identities, especially LGBTQ folks. In red states, well, I don't want to get started on red states because I'm not sure I'll stop. Including my home state of Texas, I'll say just this. In Texas, because I follow that a lot, I have family there still, the powers that be continue to think of the worst things they can think of to do. And the people there who are bravely celebrating things like Pride Month have a very special place in my heart. Close to where I live, DC Pride, to give an example, had to make multiple adjustments to their plans this year. Some corporate sponsors pulled out, which makes things a little more challenging. They had to move events away from the Kennedy Center because that organization has been gutted by the White House, and many of the Pride participants didn't want to do anything at the Kennedy Center. And some of the groups that usually participate in the Pride Parade, for instance, notably LGBT groups made up of employees from different sectors of the federal government, chose not to participate this year. I assume they were probably told not to participate. But still, Pride goes on. Here in Delaware, many of the Pride events were yesterday. I'm sorry I'm late in announcing that to you, but I hope you knew about that already. And I hope you got a chance to participate, perhaps. But I also note that Delaware Pride in particular has events that go on all through the year. Monthly conversations, quarterly community meetings, and something called Pride Bowling, which is exactly what it sounds like. You go bowl, which I love bowling, so that sounds like a great event, which happens, I believe, twice a month in Wilmington. Because I know this, pride does not depend on the goodwill of our government. Notably, as our opening words this morning pointed out, the modern LGBT movement was started and has often been directly in opposition to our governmental structures. And the same for corporations. They aren't supporting Pride Month because they want to. They're supporting Pride Month because they've been shamed into doing so. And for once, I am happy to have shame do some good in the world. Pride events are wonderful and fun and fabulous, and a hugely important celebration of what it means to be fully human. But I also know, just from my observations, that pride doesn't need to be a giant event to be real. Nor is it something that happens just 1 month a year. It happens every time someone is joyfully who they are. It happens every time someone loves the person they love. It happens every time someone enters a community and feels like home for the first time or the 101st time. And if giant rainbow bunnies are the way to make that happen, I'm all for it. Another quote, this time from the U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin. She says, "There will not be a magic day when we wake up and it's now okay to express ourselves publicly. We make that day by doing things publicly until it's simply the way things are." May it be so.